it's not more about playing quietly, but is more playing percussively. We need to keep the chord, and then we need to tap Hi, it's Ed, also known as Mono Momori. Welcome to another bass lesson. The song this time is Severed by Mudvayne from the mighty album LD50. Quick disclaimer, I am not Ryan Martinie, I didn't record the song. This is my approach on how I've learned the song by ear, and all this is based on my musical knowledge. So, for this cover, I'm in standard tuning, so B, E, A, D, G. I know that Ryan Martinie has his own tuning, but I'm lazy, so I want to learn all the songs I can in standard tuning. I think it's more of a challenge to get the tone right, and sometimes even the playing is harder to get in standard tuning. That's why I'm more used to use standard tuning.
Also because I'm lazy.
And if you want to dive deeper in how to get the tone right, and if you want the tabs of this lesson, just follow the link in the video description. And in this lesson, we're gonna pay attention on how to play the strings with the right hand. And with that said, let's jump on my Cubase project. In here, I've imported the track and divided the track in sections. Also, this section will be exactly as the tabs I've provided, so you can follow along. So for these first bars, we have the guitar that is making the intro, and the bass is actually making a melody. This melody is essentially played more on the bridge. So the first two bars are... So starts with the 7th fret of the E string, 9th fret of the D string, 11th fret of the G string, 12th fret of the G string, 11th again, 9th fret of the G string, then 10th fret of the D string, 9th fret of the D string, and then again. And starts with a slide, and we have a hammer-on the repetition of the 9th, 10th fret. Then all this section is repeated twice, but the second time the 9th, 10th fret is on the A string. So it's like... exactly the same, but the 9th, 10 is on the A string. So these two bars together, Let's play along this part. Then right after it, we have two power chords of B and C, played with a slide, which are basically 2nd fret of the A string, 4th fret of the D string, and 4th fret of the G string. Then exactly one step above, which is 3rd fret of the A string, 5th fret of the D string, 5th fret of the G string. Then we have a pop and a slap, which are basically two Bs, the lower B and the octave, played on the 2nd fret of the A string and the open B. This part is played a total of 3 times, but the 3rd time is playing crescendo. The last notes are basically B and C, 0, 1 of the B string. So let's play along. Then we have the first verse. So most of Ryan's tone are his fingers. So it's not more about playing quietly, but he's more playing percussively. I can get this tone by punching the strings downwards, and also by being very, very gentle, not by striking the strings very hard. So throughout all the song, we need to be very careful on how to pluck the strings correctly. The challenge of the song is also on how to play the easy notes. So let's take a look at the first two bars of the verse. Basically, the first bar is just playing the open B. The second bar is basically 2-3-2 of the E string. Then again, is 1-3-3. So basically is F sharp, G, C, D, and G again. The song is not that repetitive. There are really, really tiny parts that are not played exactly the same. Moving on the verse, we have for the fifth beat, exactly the same as the first beat. Exactly as the second. Then for the last two, we have always the same pattern. But then we're playing the number one on the B string, which is C. So let's play along. Then we have some kind of a breakdown. I figured it out as a part of the verse. I didn't call it in some different way. We have a different pattern, always played with the open B. So it's like... It's always the same, so we can play it along. Then we have again the first beats of the beginning of the verse, exactly the same. So let's play it along. Then we have the bridge, and the bridge starts with the number one fret of the B string, which is C. Then we're moving on the third fret of the E string and the fifth fret of the D string, which is an octave basically of G, and we have to play it percussively by punching the strings from the top as a signature Ryan's playing. So it's like and then again we have another part of the verse, but only the first two beats. So it's like... Then we have a crescendo. So let's play along. On the first two beats of the chorus we have so it's third fret of the E string, fifth fret of the E string, open B, third fret again, fifth fret again, then open B again, and then 3, 2, 0. Then we have the third and the fourth beats of the first bar section, we call it section of the chorus, which is almost the same thing. Then we have which basically are two octaves from the 9th fret of the A string, 11th fret of the G string, 7th fret of the A string and 9th fret of the G string, which are basically a slide played by stroking the strings downwards. Then we have which is open B, then on other octaves, which basically are 7, 9, 5, 7, 4, 6. So this part together are... So all this section is the chorus is repeated 4 times throughout all the chorus. For the last time, he's actually playing another thing. He's playing something like... I don't know actually if he's playing everything all at once or just with the 2 strokes. So let's play along. Then at the end of the chorus we have an open B, and I think he's playing also a slide. Let me take a listen first. He's actually playing an open B and then a slide. Then again we have another intro theme part, which the guitar is basically playing the same thing as the intro, but the bass is actually doing another thing. This is the main structure as for the intro theme parts that we're gonna encounter later on the song. Basically, it starts with an open B with the first fret of the B string. Then we have a muted downward stroke, then another mute note. Then we have as the verse, which is 2, 3, 2 of the E string. Then we have again, but this time it's 2 strokes, and then exactly as the verse. Then it's practically played one last time, but is shortened a half as a duration. Basically, it's not 4 bars, but it's just 2 bars. And then after these 2 bars, starts the second verse. This is how I count it. And these 2 bars are exactly the same as the first 2 bars as the intro theme. So it's... Let's play along. Then we have the second verse. So in this second verse, we are focusing more on the groove than the previous verse. Basically are just 4 notes, but they are placed in a way that interacts with the drums perfectly. These notes basically are open B, F sharp, 2nd fret of the E string, C sharp, which is 4th fret of the A string, sorry. Then we have in A, which is the 7th fret of the D string. And then we have the same F sharp and C sharp, but an octave above, which is the 9th fret of the A string and the 11th fret of the D string. So basically I've learned this part by interacting with the groove. I've played a bunch of times, of course, because it's not very intuitive part, but when you nail it, it's the coolest feeling ever. Basically, when you're playing the highest notes, I'm playing more on the bridge than on the neck. To get a percussive sound, I'm playing more on the fretboard. Is a tighter sound if you play it on the bridge. So let's break this second verse in parts. So on the first two bars we have, which is open B, second fret of the E string, fourth fret of the A string, and in this part we have to shift more on playing the first open B more on the neck part of the bass, then the 2/4 we have to play it on the bridge. And basically the third bar is it's like a 7th fret of the D string, then open B again, then again 2/4 of the E string and A string, then slide to the 9th fret of the A string and the 11th fret of the D string. So this is repeated twice basically, but the second time the last beat of these 4 bars, basically power chord of 9th fret of the A string, 11th fret of the D string, and the 11th fret of the G string. Then we have the bridge number 2, which is basically the same part we saw before on the first verse. So let's play along. So since this part is exactly the same as the bridge number 2, let's play along. The last bar basically is playing a slide. Ryan is playing a slide. Then we have the bridge number 3, which is exactly as the bridge we saw before, the bridge number 1. So let's play along. Then we have 2 sections that, in my opinion, needs to be explained together. I've called it the instrumental bridge and the verse number 3. I know this song is full of bridges. I know. The verse 3 is of course when Chad is singing, the singer is singing. So for this part I've counted basically as 2 5/4s, 1 7/4, 4 4/4s. It's a really odd time signature, I know, but I counted that way. So starts with an open B, then a slide to the 9th fret of the A string, then 0 7, always on the A string, then 0 5, always on the A string, and 0 4, always on the A string. Then we have a 0 5 6 with a hammer on the E string. Then we have always on the B string 5 7 3 4. So these 2 parts together are keep in mind the hand placement. When we're playing the lowest string, we need to play on the neck part of the bass. Then when we are playing here, we're playing on the bridge, as Ryan is doing, because it's actually, you can actually hear that the bass has different tones on this part and all the song, and Ryan's playing, because his finger placement are crucial. Then moving on the third beat, we have the 7/4, which is always 0, a slide to the 9th fret of the A string, 0 7 on the A string. Then we have always 0 5 6 on the hammer. Then a repetition 3 2 3 2 with the B string. So it's like, and then we have another time the scale downwards, and we're adding the 2nd fret of the A string, which is a B. So it's like and then Right after that, we are playing 0-0, a slide to the 11th fret of the B string 2 times. So it's like, I can actually tell this because I was really confused on what he was playing in this part. So I watched a live version of it, and we're gonna watch this version I saw. Here it is. There it is. I don't know why, but this live version is like in C, not in B, so it's like half step higher pitch. I don't know why, but anyway, yeah, is and then we have a chord which is basically is a sharp chord major, which is 8th fret of the A string, 8th fret of the D string, and 7th fret of the G string. So all this part together is and then right after that it comes a really interesting thing, because the part goes really melodic, but is actually adding just octaves, and it sounds so good. I love it. It's exactly the same part we just played, but basically we're just adding octaves. From the 9th fret you need to add the 11th fret of the G string. The 7th fret you need to add the 9th fret. 5th fret of the A string you need to add the 7th fret of the G string. 4th fret of the A string you need to add the 6th fret of the G string. Then the 2nd fret of the A string you need to add the 4th fret of the G string. So let's play along these two parts together. And anyway, right after that, we've got another bridge, and basically we are playing just an open B through all 8 bars right after it. Basically, it's a repetitive pattern, but the last notes that Ryan is playing, always with the octaves, are always different. So the pattern, basically, let's talk about this first 2 bars, is it's always played on the open B, and basically the octaves that you're playing is actually a octave played on the 5th fret of the E string and the 7th fret of the D string. The last note that we're playing is always incremental, basically. The first time is A, the second time is B, the third time is C sharp, and the fourth time is D. So 5th fret of the E string, 11th fret, 7th fret of the D string, 2nd fret of the A string, and the 4th fret of the G string, 4th fret of the A string, 6th fret of the G string, and the 5th fret of the A string, and 7th fret of the G string. So basically, let's play along, since this part is repeated. Then we have another section of the breakdown. It's basically alternating 4/4 with the 5/4. It's completed a 9/4 bar because it's 5 plus 4. So it basically is 5 strokes of zeros, open B, 2 times, then 4 strokes, And then we have another slide, which is 9th fret of the A string and 11th fret of the G string, with a slide on the 11th fret of the A string and the 13th fret of the G string. The second time we're just playing from the 11th fret and the 13th fret downwards. And this is basically AB, repeated alternatively. So basically, let's play along. Then we have another bridge. It's always the first fret and the G. Then we have again the theme and the intro. Basically, it's almost the same thing as the second time we've encountered the theme intro, but the last beat we're playing a chord which is A chord, major. 7th fret of the A string, 7th fret of the D string, and 6th fret of the G string. Basically, the two parts that we are switching are the theme intro, the second theme intro. So it's like and basically the part that is on the first verse, which is so let's play along. Then we have another really interesting part, which is the tapping part of the song. Basically are all tappings and pull-offs. We need to keep the chord and then we need to tap so basically are all 11th fret of the D string, 14th fret of the G string, 15th fret of the G string, 14th fret of the D string, 15th fret of the D string, 12th fret of the D string, and then 11th fret of the D string. Basically, these are the notes that we are playing. And then the chord is moving a step, a half step. If you slow it down, it's like and then it's a loop, basically. You need to like get into it and try it a couple of times, but when you get it, it's easy. Anyway, this is the part, this is the pattern. The only difference is on the ending, because there's a crescendo. We're not playing always the same pattern, but the last time we're playing, which is 14th fret, 15th fret, 17th fret, 12th fret. There's a moment when the guitar and the drums are doing two notes basically, and also the bass is actually doing this. So let's play along. part is really cool because when you play it, you can actually feel the song. The drums are approaching really slowly to the song. When it's the climax, it's a really cool experience and a really powerful feel you can get from it. The crescendo is just Then right after that we have the ending chorus, which is basically the chorus repeated in loop, but it's repeated only the first part of the chorus. We saw that the chorus is not repeated every time, but sometimes there's a different part, especially on the fourth time is repeated. Now is repeated always the same thing. So let's play along. So this was the bass lesson on how to play Severed by Mudvayne. Thank you so much for watching from the top to the end. I'm also gonna make the full cover of the song. You can find the link in here when the video is out. Subscribe if you're new to the channel and take a look what I'm doing on my channel. I'm not doing just video lessons, but I'm also doing my original music. And of course, my original music has with influence the videos, the covers and the lessons that I'm bringing on the channel. I've made the bass cover of my song, The Light of an Idea. You can find it here. It's a song in which I've made a 3D video myself. It's a really cool experience because the song has Ryan Martinie's techniques. It's a really different approach on his techniques because the song is not a new metal song. It's an alternative ambient rock song with some odd instruments like kalimba. Also take a look at my Patreon if you want to learn my songs. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you soon in the next one. Peace!